You're listening to the Jay Bird Watching Podcast, the official podcast of jaysjournal.com and fansided.com. We are the official ballroom chat for everything Toronto Blue Jays baseball, from game highlights to rumors and all the stuff in between. Here's your host, Craig Borden, with co-hosts Jason Lyons and Liz McGuire. Now let's talk some Toronto Blue Jays baseball.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another evening of Jay Bird Watching. I am your host, Craig Borden. With me, a full house tonight on the show. We got guests, we got the normal gang fully together. We are going to have all sorts of fun prepping for the playoffs and just talking baseball in general tonight. But going to go around the table first. So, Jason, how the heck are you, bud?
Real good. Beautiful day in Vancouver here. I got my new hat from the Blue Jays Futures Camp from last week. So big shout out to Xander Geddes, who we had on the show. Daniel Dykema, another kid from North Van here, who actually hit a stand-up triple off the top of the wall. He's in grade 12.
Give him a cake.
And who else was there? Finn Hoshin, who we had on the show. They were both out there, all three out there for the Futures Camp. So they brought me back this fabulous chapeau, which I am happy to wear. And I'm off to Whitehorse in the Yukon tomorrow. So super sweet.
That's
nice.
That's last.
So my soon-to-be roommate, at least for the weekend, Liz, how the heck are you?
I'm good, man. I'm really good. I was at the game last night, as I was speaking before. I was at the game last night. We did not win the game, but we lost the game. But the Yankees also won their game, which made us lose harder. But I think we're going to rally. Hopefully they'll have a better showing tonight. I don't know. Baseball will be that way. It's magic. It breaks your heart. We'll see where we are. But I'm just, I don't know, man. I'm in a good spot. Like I was saying, I'm doing a lot of math, a lot of scenario plannings. Tickets go on sale tomorrow. So I don't know, man. It's nice to be in competitive baseball. It's just nice to be here.
Yeah, and like I said, you and I get to hang out at 2 ball games over the weekend, hopefully.
Yeah.
So that'll be even better.
Yeah.
So game on. So with us, we have 2 wonderful friends in our guest spots this evening. First, we got Brooke of Brooke Knows Ball. How the heck are you? And welcome to the show.
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me on. I feel like I'm in like the same headspace as Liz right now, where we're just like, it's a roller coaster of a week. I'm very excited to be here, though. I'm excited to see just so many different games coming up, which makes me very excited. As you all know, like I just love good baseball. So if I can see that, then I'm happy. Although last night's game, we felt a little different emotions throughout the game, which is totally fine. And I'm just really grateful to be on the podcast today.
Awesome. And we're going to be very happy to have you and talk some just baseball all over the place tonight. And then also joining us for that wonderful conversation, Joel, how the heck are you, buddy? Welcome to the show.
Doing well. Great time to talk baseball, especially with the Jays being where they are at this point of the season. I think any time that you can be in contention in September and then being the first AL team to lock up a playoff spot. I don't think anybody had that on their Blue Jays bingo card at the beginning of the season. Not that we weren't like hopeful and had good expectations for the team, but I think right here, not just battling for a wild card spot, but battling for first place is.
If they said they did, they lied to you. I was like, they'll be above 500, maybe.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's very funny because the guest we actually have on next week, he was on the show previously, and it's Shane Told, the lead singer of Silverstein. And he was on I thought we were going to talk a little bit more music, but he was so happy to talk baseball and just vent on how bad the Blue Jays were at the beginning of the season. So I was like, okay, well, we're in the playoffs. I got to give him a redeemer. He's going to join us next week and have some fun. But it was one of those weird things. I was like, okay, wow, we really have had the roller coaster of seasons. Joel, you're a Blue Jays fan. How has this season just been in general for you to watch from, the journey we've all been on?
Well, I've been critical of the front office for the last few years because it seems like there's a new direction every year, if that makes sense. Like there isn't the like, hey, we're the Bronx Bombers, we're gonna go out there and bomb and be Bronx Bombers. No, it's like one year we have a stellar offense, the next year it's pitching oriented, the next year it's defense oriented, and it's like it's almost like they're flipping a coin on how they want to win every single season. But at the same time, I was very happy to see the Santander pickup, even though that hasn't worked out nearly the way that we wanted.
He's
it
in the
to.
lineup tonight.
Yeah,
That's true. Yet. That's a good point. Yet, but to see that we made a move for a bat like that at the beginning of the year, that had my hopes up. And then personally, like Max Scherzer is maybe my favorite pitcher of all time. So when he got signed, I got excited the fact that I can wear a Blue Jays jersey with Scherzer on the back.
It's wild, man.
Yeah, so it's that definitely piqued my interest. And then a healthy season from Bo up to the last 10 days or so. But that I think has been a really big factor on why this team was able to take that step. Bo healthy is, and also he just comes off as a winner to me. So yeah.
So Brooke, being the baseball world traveler that you are, with the wonderful statistics, the videos and the content, the stories that you have collected, what have you seen from being the outsider looking in a little bit on this whole Toronto Blue Jays situation? You and I had some fun talks about the fact that they are become the least strikeout team in baseball and how that has really been the focus of this team.
Yeah, I think it really goes to their approach with how I feel very proud to watch them this year, just because their approach has been what I feel like I tout a lot on my channel, which is just that small ball tactic. Of course, Bo being as great and just swinging every single time that we see, strike down the middle. I'm always preaching, please just swing your bat. If you see the strike down the middle, first pitch, why are we not swinging for this? So I think that we're seeing one of the best offenses in baseball this season from the Blue Jays, which makes me really proud to see. And that's really what I try to promote on my channel, right? Like, as we know, I'm not particular to any specific team, but what I am particular to with the Blue Jays is just the way that they've been performing. It makes me sad to see that. Bo, of course, had his recent injury, but I think that he'll be well very soon. So I'm excited to see him get back to the game. And the role players, they've just been amazing. So I can't have really any negative things to say about it. I think at the beginning of the season, like what everyone else has said before, we didn't have high hopes for the Blue Jays, and they have been a surprising turnaround, which just goes to show if you kind of work together as a team, if you take that just that smaller approach for running a marathon, not doing a sprint, then that really helps you in the long run. And they have that selfless mentality, which has been really special to see.
It's always been next man up. So Jason, Liz, as we clinched a playoff spot over the last week, outside of, the pouring beers all over Vladdy, which was very humorous, where they just literally all attacked him with beer cans and everything like that. This team has been that not really personified really truly in one person. It has been always one other person, but how euphoric was it just all of a sudden see us just get something done finally and get this playoff
the roller coaster
eluded us for 3 days.
Yeah, the roller coaster ride was, it felt like they'd been so far in front, and I don't want to take, anything away from the other teams they're playing. They're all trying to win. They're all trying to spoil, but it felt like we just started kicking the can down the road, and we were like, what's going on here, guys? Like, why can't we just turn this around and make things happen? And so it was very much a relief. I think that unfortunately, and if you guys have, we all see this, is after they have that beer-induced party, the next game is usually a big bag of crap, which, it was kind of a big bag of crap. Now, that being said, I feel like, and I don't think the game has started yet, but I think they're going to tear the head off the Sox tonight. I think it's going to be one of those where I think that communally as a team, they're angry. I haven't seen Schneider that angry in a long time about, like, he was physically going red when they talked to him about that foul ball. And here's the thing for me. I've watched baseball for a long time. I'm old as hell. What I don't understand is, why is that umpire not accountable for that bad call right after the game? They should bring him out. They should run the video like they would do with any other thing and just be like, okay, now that you can clearly see that you blew that call and cost the Jays potentially 3 runs. We don't know what's going to happen with that ball. What's your take on it? The rule is the ball passes over the top of the base. It's a fair ball, correct? Yes. Okay. Well, let me hear your interpretation, because you just stand there like an idiot out there while they're talking about it. Wildly frustrating. And we kind of joked about this a little bit, like those 3 days or 4 days, it felt like the MLB had it in for the Jays. Like they were like, okay, we've had enough of you guys for now. We're going to barely let you squeak in. You're going to have to go up against a buzzsaw in the wild card, but we're not going to make it easy. I mean, the call on Varsho, like how that is not a catch in any league doing anything. I mean, with your bare eyes, when he hit it, you could see he caught it. And yet on video, it's not overturned because they can't tell the ball touched the ground. Like, come on. Like, it's so.
This man Bananas call that out, just saying. As much as I love the Bananas.
So I was happy to have it done. Sorry I ranted there, but.
There you go, bud. I have forgotten the question. I have forgotten the question.
Just pick up where we left off. Go for it.
I think we're just talking about baseball. I know that.
I do have one question. If you're not going to rip on he's talking about the just how relieved were you are to see them clinch.
Oh yeah. Okay. So the
Empire was going to be a topic too.
I am just so delighted to be here. I'm like astonished that we're here. What I like about this team and when we clinched was it felt like the job wasn't over. And this is the thing, man. That's a bad mindset. We should celebrate everything. I really don't like it when people are like, well, if the Yankees clinch and don't win the division, if they win the wild card, they still get to celebrate. It's a long season. It's 162 games. You're away from your family. You're away from your kids. You make it to the postseason. You celebrate. You celebrate everything. And so I was just, I don't know, man, like I was just happy it was over. I was happy that phase was over, but in retrospect, I should be way happier, and I'm a bad person for not.
So just to give you the level of amped up this evening already, Max Scherzer pumped out his first strikeout, and let's just say he's a little amped up.
Yeah, okay, hold on. I'm gonna go straight for a second. So Joel, you're a Scherzer guy. What did you make of the last Scherzer outing when he got shelled? And everybody, including perhaps me and other people, maybe were calling for his retirement. Like, how does that?
Now, Joel, hold on. Before you answer, realize Liz goes through this weekly. She's fire, drop, cut.
Yeah, Hoffman was on the shit list last week.
Team, and then the next week she picks him as their pick to claim.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's a wild scenario right now with the pitching rotation because you think coming into the season that's our source of strength, and obviously I don't want to see Max get blown up ever, but I think that there's this endless competitor in him. I think a situation like that is just going to fire him up to come out next game and however he's used, whenever he's used, to be the best version of himself, because he's still like. We're right now in this position where Clayton announced his retirement. Max hasn't yet. Right? I'm not missing out on anything.
Nope,
and then Verlander, same thing. Verlander is going to be pitching next year. So it's this wild scenario where you're seeing, 9 Cy Youngs, I think, between the 3 guys, like potentially be gone in very short order. So I'm just embracing every Max Scherzer start, even something as nasty as that. Like, obviously that doesn't make me happy, but I think he's at the place where he knows he has to give everything he has, because the finish line for his career is right around the corner, whether it's this year or one more year. And I think a guy like that knows how to brush off a bad outing like that. He's had probably 100 of them over the course of his career. So he knows how to get over that stuff. And to be in a situation where, Barrios is being sent to the bullpen, and you're looking at Trey Yesavage potentially being your game 3 starter, it's a very interesting situation for this team. Yeah. But I think Max can handle being shelled. If it's happened to anybody, it's happened to him more than anyone on this team. So. Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to knock on desk right now that we're not jinxing him, and because the Red Sox already got to run. So, no, it is what it is.
I don't have the game up, so.
Yeah, I'm being horrible because everybody talks about it in our chat window, and thank you, everybody, the 90 of you that are in the chat already. We do greatly appreciate you. But, yeah, come on, you're killing me here.
It's going to be okay. Maybe. Let's go.
Perks of a live show. So, on that note, we got a ton of comments in the about the umpiring last night, and the one thing that comes up infinitely so far in this conversation in our chat baseball in general is how is that not a reviewable play? Everything else is, but for some reason, a ball bouncing over the bag and being fair or foul is not one of the many things. Brooke, we also got the news of the pitching thing this week with the robo-ump. So if there's anything there you want to dive in with the umpires, I would love to hear your opinion.
Okay, yeah, I
can see the wheels turning.
I've seen some really bad calls go against the Jays lately, which to me is just wild. Like, we had Dalton Varsho. He made an amazing catch that was called a trap. Springer had a double down the line taken away. And if you saw the Yankees clinch the other night, it looked like Michael Taylor pulled up on a ball in center field with 2 outs in the ninth. And he's usually making that play. So, like, I don't want to say that things are looking a little rigged right now, but they're smelling a little bit fishy. I'm not liking the smell in the room at the moment. I don't think it's my deodorant. So I don't know. I just think that we have so many ways to review plays. Now with the automated balls and strike system, it's in play next year. But a play that could lead to 3 runs can't be reviewed. To me, that's just, it's wild. Like, I'm sharing the same sentiment that everybody else is right here, which is just why are we putting ourselves in a situation where we are not going to review something when we all just want accountability? I think that's where we draw the line there. Whether it's in favor of the Jays or not, at least we can all come to an agreement and take accountability for calls that maybe were made in the air.
Yeah, I feel like it's so Bush for a league that's done everything in the last sort of 10 years to make it not be Bush. Like, you know, like we went through the team that wins the All-Star game gets the home or whatever the hell they did with that, some weird thing. And, you know, there's been so much Bush league stuff for a professional league. And then they come out and say, you know, we're going to go to robo-umps, which I think is a fantastic idea. I feel like watching the third call strike on Springer after that foul ball. I mean, it's 4 inches out. It's not, you know, a quarter of an inch out or skimming this outside of the stripe. I mean, it's outside by enough that the pitcher or the catcher almost fell over. He was bringing it so far in from the outside. And
the crazier thing is, I've heard this. I've been with umpires. I did a lot of like high school stuff and everything after a call like that. And I don't know if you saw the foul ball, Springer's instant reaction when he was running to first base. It was not subtle. How much of that was the umpire just going, you know what? Screw you. You're showing me up. Boom.
But it's not his call. Down. It's not the home plate umpire's call.
That's what I'm saying with the following strike.
Yeah, I don't know.
I worry that that's the kind of stupid that is still in this game. And if it's early in the season, fine. Correct the crummy behavior on the field. I don't care. This is division level clinching playoff stuff that you are throwing a wrench into. This was always like when I was umpiring, I would never end the game on a strikeout if I could help it. I wanted to let the kids try to hit the ball and play or whatever it might be, just to keep it moving just a little bit more. And he took the bat literally right out of his hands for a pitch that was easily, you know, dead center 6 inches off of the bag. So
the one thing that I will say though, that I'm like, this is slightly controversial, but that I'm worried about when it comes to the robo-umps is I feel like just umpires, like, that's such an art form that most people don't really understand and how that works, and they have no appreciation for it, because when you watch a game, you have that strike zone right in front of you. So you're like, of course, that's so obvious. But then it's the catcher's job to, you know, make it look like it was in the zone too, which I think is also an art form. So there's part of me, like, I feel torn, because then, you know, we have calls like last night where it's just like, what just happened? That's insane. But then on the other side of it, it's like, that's like, I don't know, it's just such an art form that we will no longer, I feel like it's going to fade away, and people are going to become, I don't want to say lazy viewers, but it's going to become something where you just don't appreciate it as much, because it's just, you know,
it does humanize baseball. It humanizes baseball. I mean, an umpire making an error, it humanizes baseball, just the same way that a routine ground ball going through, you know, Derek Jeter's legs, and you're like, how does that happen?
What?
And it's sometimes it's nice to be like, no, they are just, you know, a couple steps above me at beer league softball. Like,
And they have,
And
honestly, their accuracy is so great in general. It is just, we're just talking about a couple percentage points of it being off. But of course, there's those situations when we're coming up, on these really important games, you want to make sure that the calls are accurate. So I wonder if there's a way to integrate both where you can still see some calls maybe in earlier parts of the season, but then once it comes time for postseason or playoffs or anything like that, then it's like, all right, like we got to bring in the robos.
So the funnier thing that I live here in Rochester, New York. I get to watch AAA baseball all the time, and I've gotten to love the hat tap, and it's just a nice way of, to your point, Brooke, keeping the perfect parts of the game, those little human pieces, without it being something completely over the top where they're reviewing every play or it's just the robot doing the umpire strike zone. It has been a good experiment. I've loved watching, and honestly, sitting in the ballpark, watching that happen, it's so seamless that it's like I didn't even notice them tap the hat, and then I'm looking over at the scoreboard and they are showing the target of the strike zone like we see on TV, and it's just bing, bing, boom. There's nothing too crazy about it. Joel, what was your thoughts on the news of hearing about the robotic strike zone coming in?
I want accountability. I want the most accurate possible game to be called. At the same time, to Brooke's point, which was kind of my point, but she stole it. Catcher framing, like Kirk is one of the best framers in the game, right? That's a big chunk of his skill set. I think there's something like he saved 15 runs or something for the team over the course of the season with his framing. So it's just like you're kind of limiting that skill set of a catcher. And also when it came to pitchers, it's funny because this is probably before your time, Brooke.
I don't know. She's got a lot of really good baseball stories that she's been collecting.
She knows things.
She knew who Dave Steve was. Nobody knows who Dave Steve is. That's why he's not in the damn Hall of Fame.
Yeah, and what I was going to say was that, like, usually back in the past, it was almost like we would hear how a specific umpire had a specific strike zone. Remember, it's like, oh, this guy, he calls it this way. And that was almost knowledge that hitters would have. Yeah, it was like, hey, this guy's behind the plate today. He calls it a little up, or he calls a tight strike zone, or, hey, don't let him take the bat out of your hand. He's known for, giving the pitchers a couple inches here and there. So it was almost like 15, 20 years ago. It was an extra bit of knowledge that teams would have coming into a game going, this guy's behind the mound. This is the kind of approach that we need to have on the plate. And then it's very true that rectangle came in and made us all so much better at seeing what is a strike and what isn't, because you go back and watch stuff from the mid 90s and they would so casually be like, oh, outside corner. And it was like outside corner plus like 2 or 3 inches.
More like you didn't say it right. It was Bob Uecker. Like it was just a bit outside.
So
laying off pitches so close.
But at the same time, I think we get to the point now as fans where nothing is more frustrating than seeing that strike. That's like you see way too many balls right down the middle because the catcher was setting up outside, but then he moves his glove to the middle, makes the catch, and the umpire only saw the glove movement. So he's like, oh, that's a ball because of how much the catcher moved. And those things that aren't really, they just naturally happen. And an umpire sees that and goes, oh, that's a ball. You missed your spot, but it was right down the middle. So to be able to kind of get the accountability for those types of scenarios, and then the opposite where it is 3-4 inches off and it's a called strike 3, and that, or even a count that's a 1-1 count that goes 1-2 instead of 2-1 because of a bad call. Like we all know how different batting averages are when you're ahead of the count and behind in the count. So
unless you're Kirk.
Yeah.
Or Luis Arias. So
Brooke, I
Joel,
think it would
wanna...
be sorry, Craig. I think it would be interesting if you did an Angel Hernandez one. You could talk about the,
Yeah, I have like a lot that I plan on doing upcoming, but I get a lot of people that will send in, various players or various time periods that they want me to talk about or something like that, and it I always am like, if I don't know who the player is, I go down and I start doing research, and then I end up going down this like little rabbit hole where I maybe was focused on one player, and then I like end up going, some other direction. And I have my production partner that we work together and always just kind of like bounce those ideas off each other. So please, if you ever have a day, suggestions, let me know.
Yeah. If you to avoid going too deep through the rabbit hole on the Angel Hernandez thing, Liz's friend at Not Gayetti on Twitter is the Angel Hernandez like guru, and he actually is known for his stick is NEPTA, or not enough people talk about, and then whatever the baseball player is. But he went away from statistics stuff and for some reason fixated on Angel Hernandez for like a good month right before he retired. And it was very humorous.
I got a question for Brooke. Brooke, how do you kind of pick the stories that you want to tell, or how have you gone about that in the past? And I guess what has been your favorite story to kind of elevate and tell?
Yeah, so it kind of depends on the day of the week and my mood, and I feel like that. I wish it was like more organized than that, but it's not. As far as like what type of stories I want to tell, I'm always looking for something that has really good narrative. I appreciate good storytelling, so I come from more of the narrative space, and I try to keep the stories general enough so that my platform can be more broad and encompassing to all teams. But I want to make sure that there's still that human interest piece in it as well. One of my favorite videos to do, well, I'll give two. The one that I think had the most impactful response was Tyler Skaggs' video with the Angels, just because the fact that it was basically like a fictitious story, but it actually happened in real life, and it was so emotional. And I had so many people reaching out to me saying, that they actually came to tears from the videos, that it reignited their love for not just the game but individual players within the game. That was just, I didn't expect the response to be as profound as it was, which was great and touching. The other one that I really enjoyed doing was Vince Foley, because I really look up to him. I think that the way that he did storytelling within baseball is just something that I try to model my page after. So that was just a fun one to pay tribute to the guy that I think everybody always loved and appreciated as an announcer, regardless of whether you're a Dodgers fan or not. People were just very happy to say that guy was one of the best.
Oh yeah,
and 100% the best. Him reading in my brain, it's actually like giving me goosebumps and whatnot. Just him reading the speech from Field of Dreams. That was one of my favorite videos that he ever did. As far as just this really reading that is still one of those things that it's almost as relevant as the James Earl Jones piece in my head. And it's just because of how he read something, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, he told this amazing story about Madison Bumgarner, and I just loved but it was really like any story that he would tell. He told it amazingly, and it was very captivating. And that's something that I also try to do with my channel, is to bridge the idea of baseball and storytelling, because we think about some of our favorite baseball movies like Field of Dreams, and it always has a place in your heart. It always has a place in your mind. If somebody asked you what's your favorite baseball movie, you could probably name three. And that's something that I think Vince Foley did very well, with bridge that gap. And he was just one of the greatest storytellers of every time. So
1000%. So just to make the goof, because that's the kind of show we run here. I guess we're gonna have to worry about the thing that Jason was talking about and Liz about the Blue Jays culturisms. You got to write a story about these guys and what they've done with the wonderful world of hot dogs in Toronto Blue Jays fandom. When I saw this picture this morning, I texted the two of them and I said, "You guys got to autograph that thing, send it to both the Canadian and the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, and it should be on display because it is a weird, fun, awesome baseball story, and they've been definitely a big proprietor of that. It's been." I feel like they're the kings of hot dog town. So too funny.
Hey, Brooke, I have a question for you. I have a lot of friends that listen to the cast quite regularly. A lot of them have daughters who play high level baseball, hockey, other things like that. And one of the things when I started mentioning you were going to be on is obviously they started showing their daughters, you as being, a very strong female voice of a sport. And let's call spade a spade that hasn't had a lot of female voices that are strong and people listen to. So have you had a lot of like super positive feedback from like girls sort of like 10 to 15 that never would have even considered, commentating on baseball? And then as a second part of that, like, do you see yourself just sort of continuing to do this, or would you consider moving into a position of like in hockey is different than baseball where the color person does a lot more than the color person in baseball. It's almost like in baseball, they wake the guy up and they're like, oh yeah, here's a story about this guy that I'm going to read. It doesn't sound like it's out of a can. Hockey, there tends to be more flow and more just, there's a little more nuance. Have you ever considered maybe talking to one of the leagues about you being on there? Jamie Campbell would be a big fan of this, but just being more of a storyteller for the guys that are in the game or the players or anything that's going on with the game.
Yeah. First of all, thank you. That's very kind of you to share my page with other people. And that is something that I have really enjoyed seeing as a result of this page being created. First of all, when this page was created, I did not expect it to take wind as quickly as it did, which is a fantastic whirlwind to be caught in. But I have been hearing, what I'll hear a lot more so is fathers talking about how this page has given them an opportunity to connect more with their daughters. And I guess similar situations is what you're describing, Jason. And what I want this page to also help do is just be an opportunity to showcase, you're right, like that female voice within a more men-driven sport. And it's been an opportunity to be a platform to showcase that just because it might be a male-dominated sport does not mean that we cannot make a mark for ourselves in it. I found a lot, actually, not just from little girls in it, but also like a lot of little boys that have watched my account. What I've actually like heard is that there was this one coach and he said that he like shows it to his little league team before every practice and they play a little video, and it's just like, that to me is so touching to hear. So any opportunity where I'm able to expand into the youth market, I absolutely love it. I am all here for it. I do a lot of kids-oriented, family-oriented content in general, not just on my page for my baseball page, but I have other things that I do outside of it. As far as would I bridge myself into other sports like hockey, I really enjoy the atmosphere for hockey. Like when you go into a hockey game in person, I just think it's so lively and fun and exciting. So I can completely understand the fandom. And of course, with Canadians in the room, I get it. Like hockey is like the thing for many people. I would bridge into other spaces. My biggest thing, baseball being the forefront right now, but I just really like to do storytelling. So if I can tell stories in a lot of different ways, I'm going to, regardless of whether it's baseball or another category. I obviously have more of an affinity towards baseball, but that doesn't mean that I don't have an appreciation for other sports, or even just other industries in general.
I think that baseball lends itself well to storytelling because you can't outrun the clock. You have to do the things. You got to get the outs. And baseball is a game of moments and magic, right? It's just like, you're like, what's going to happen next? Because things have to happen for you to end the game. And what I love about baseball, again, why it lends itself well to storytelling, and what I appreciate in your approach to it is because you are a nonpartisan baseball lover, and you find you bring out in your storytelling the magic that is baseball. Even in the moments where there's nothing happening, that is still just gives you a minute to just sit in the moment, right? It's being very present. And it's also about community and being there together. But what I really I think about baseball is like it's a game of just a bunch of big moments, which again, like it's just like you see a routine fly ball, you don't know if someone's going to catch it, somebody's going to drop it. Baseball is the only sport where I'm like I've witnessed miracles like often because you're like you don't know what's going to happen. Like it's like with the Yankees, or was the Dodgers approach to the Yankees last World Series, put the ball in play. Let's just put the ball in play. And so, yeah, I really appreciate your approach to storytelling, but also like for bringing out that in baseball, because there's a narrative people say about baseball being boring. And I'm like, no, it's a game of super stressful moments.
Absolutely. And, I actually will tell people, because you know how golf and tennis are considered the business sports, where it's like if you have a business meeting, you usually take someone golfing. Take them to a baseball game. There are so many opportunities to have those conversations. And then when you need like a little bit of a release of the tension from that business conversation, look at that amazing play that just happened. And it gives you something to talk about. And it's such a lively experience where it's there. You can interact with the people around you. And I love going to games and seeing families and just like watching, the dad talk to the little kids and just be like, oh, this is what happened and this is why this happened, and the kids like half listening, but there's a moment where they get interested because something exciting happens, and then you just watch that play out, and it's cute. I love it.
Yeah, perfect. So I want to actually go where you were starting to segue, and then I give Liz great props for that awesome question though, because that was perfect. I just was like, I have an opportunity to move the conversation to where you wanted to talk to. You and Joel are working on something very interesting outside of your current content and everything. Maybe I'll let Joel kick it off and you guys can kind of tell the whole thing going on here, because I feel like Joel's been in questions. So go for it, bud.
Oh, yeah. Well, to play on to what Brooke was saying about the storytelling aspect of things, we kind of feel like one of the greatest eras of baseball was when there was so much in the film space. So, in the 80s and the 90s, you had all the great movies, Bull Durham, Field of Dreams, Major League, but you had movies that were like, you had a kid's movie like Rookie of the Year or Sandlot, and then you had
my personal favorite's Little Big League.
Exactly, very underrated baseball movie, Little Big League. They're talking about like Moses Fleetwood Walker in that movie. I'm talking about like serious, and then
oh no, did we lose him?
To end it with all elements.
You got too excited.
But that's kind of this missing element to the game. And I feel like, at least for me growing up, not only was it amazing just to watch a baseball game, but a movie gave you a taste of baseball where baseball was the setting, and you didn't have to know everything about the game. You got to learn to love the game through characters and narrative and storytelling like that. So something that we're working on right now, which we have the story rights to, is the Tommy John story, which is another kind of, it's a story that obviously the focal point, for those who don't know, is the Dodgers. Tommy John played for the Dodgers when the injury happened. But at the same time, here we are 51 years later, and it involves every team. Every single team goes through the stress and the pain of seeing their best players go down from season to season. So it's really a story, not just of one team or one player, but it's the story of baseball, especially pitching. And to see 50% of pitchers going down from that injury. And this year it was Garrett Cole, Ohtani was last year, DeGrom, Justin Verlander came back at 38, 39 to win a Cy Young after his Tommy John. So it's kind of this like Icarus kind of phoenix rising from the ashes. Before Tommy John, there was you if you blew your UCL out, your only way back to the game was throwing a knuckleball. So, to be able to sit and have that story being pushed around right now, Brooke and I have been lucky enough to, just over the last week, we've talked to Trevor May. We've talked to Rob Friedman, Pitching Ninja, right? We've talked to some absolutely amazing people within the game to try to kind of build up the story itself, because not only do you want it to find a good production company and be made into a movie, but it would be great to have the backing of Major League Baseball itself, and to have that kind of premiere where, hey, here's all of baseball coming together. And then obviously something that is very important when it comes to film these days is 50% of your budget goes to the production of a movie, but then 50% of your budget goes to the marketing and the advertisement of a film. So you have a situation right there with Tommy John where his name gets brought up 2 to 3 times every single baseball game. That is just unbelievable marketing, right?
Yeah, name power alone. But seeing my friend from That Guy Eddie Cullen that does all the spreadsheet work is actually in. So there you go, Cullen. I got your work for you right here. So not only was it enough that he was known for obviously the reasons we're talking about here on why he continues to get brought up every day, Tommy John was a hell of a player. He had more wins than some Hall of Famers. 318 starts before he had his left arm worked on, and then 382 more after that for something that was basically an experiment at that point, right? It's wild the amount of work that he did. He had more innings than Jim Cott and Tom Glavine, to drop a few names right there from our buddy's stuff. But it's
I don't have the numbers,
story, not just the one piece to it.
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think he has something like 162, 164 complete games, like 65 shutouts. I think he has the most induced double plays in baseball history, which is an interesting statistic, right? I think Jim Cott is second at like 450, 460, and then Tommy John has 615 induced double plays. That's 1,230 outs on 600 pitches, right? We talk about the strikeouts and all that stuff, but think about that, right? And the other thing, I believe either he has the record or he's in the top 3 for no decisions. I think he has something like 170, 180 no decisions, which nowadays is that's like 6 full seasons of no decisions, right? So to have 288 wins, which is the most by any pitcher not in the Hall of Fame, which no pitcher is really ever going to get. Like maybe Verlander's got a chance if he pitches like a few more years, but that's a number that nobody reaches anymore. And if he would have played on a competitive team for those early years when he was in Chicago, you're talking about a guy who could have been close to Greg Maddux with like 350 wins. So it's an absolute shit. He's not in the Hall.
Do you guys think this is interesting? I would love to test this theory. So, I mean, I knew he was a real person, but I'll bet you if we went out into the streets in most American cities that have a baseball team and said, is Tommy John's a real person? Most people would say no. They would assume it was either the surgeon that did the surgery. And, secondarily, do you guys not find it interesting that, I mean, obviously this surgery was named after the guy that had it, but baseball is so affected on things that not only do they have that, but they also have Lou Gehrig's. Like, I mean, they have 2 major things that are named after the person that they happen to, and no more fame than being baseball famous. But I think it's super cool because I knew Tommy John was a guy. I just didn't know those stats. And again, I don't think most people know that. So cool story.
Yeah, that's something that Joel and I are really trying to do is a Hall of Fame push for Tommy John, because the fact that he has all these stats and he's not in the Hall of Fame is insane. The fact that everybody knows his name but doesn't know who he is also insane to me. And the story that really came from it is such a human story. It's one of those stories where it seems fictitious, but because it happened in real life, it's that much more interesting. Before his surgery, he made, what was it, Joel, like 150,000 in all in total?
Thanks for bringing that up. It's funny because in 1975, the year he got hurt, Andy Messerschmidt for the Dodgers kind of instituted free agency. He played a season without a contract, which then led to free agency in Major League Baseball. So his first 12, 13 seasons, he made about 115 grand in total. And then after, he made $9 million.
Yeah, I was gonna say after he got some name rights.
Yeah. And people were thinking, they're like, is this guy even going to be effective coming out of it? Let's see. Because he was coming back in his mid-30s. So people were just thinking, or almost mid-30s. So people were
Which, funny enough, ended up being basically mid-career after all the other stuff that I had mentioned. So it's crazy. It's a hell of a story.
Another thing. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you go.
Okay. I was just going to say that 2 months after he got injured, Nolan Ryan famously pitched to the radar gun for the first time, where he threw that 100.9 mile an hour pitch. So Tommy John gets hurt, leaves the league for 2 years. And when he comes back, all of a sudden the radar gun is what determines whether you're a good pitcher or not.
That's what it was.
And he had never been a guy who lit up the radar gun. So for the first 14 years of his career, he was only throwing 87. And then he comes back and he's like, hey, I'm throwing 87 again. And he's all happy. And everybody's like, no, you suck. You're no good. And he really had to almost prove himself again because the way that you scout a player had completely changed from the moment he got the injury to when he came back. So, and then weirdly enough, that radar gun is a big reason why people get injured in the first place. So the solution and the cause of the injury are like combined at the same moment in time in baseball.
I'm really surprised nobody's done this story before, but so what I was going to say, and I'd love to hear both of your thoughts. I'd love to hear all of your thoughts on this. As a coach of 14-year-old elite baseball players, we have kids in our age group that are getting Tommy Johns.
No.
Some by choice. Some are
abuse.
Some are maxing out. Like we go and we treat the kids' arms really well in Canada. It's a rule across the entire country. We go to tournaments in the US and we will watch kids throw 375 pitches in 3 days, and they are pieces of meat. And these are kids that are playing sprint, like baseball that isn't baseball. It's made up baseball. It's fake teams of fake tryouts, and these parents are paying insane amounts of money. And we're starting to see it more and more now, where these kids are just run through. So if you guys do it, hopefully there is some part of it you can sort of mention the fact. There's a big story out right now. There's an 11-year-old kid, and the no one will do the surgery on him. And his parents are like, we'll pay whatever it costs because we want him to be in the majors. And you're like, have you never seen a kid go from 11 to 20? Like, they make a lot of weird decisions. Like they may not like baseball anymore, which is just horrifying. So,
I'm definitely not doing what I thought I was going to be doing when I was 11 years old.
It is. I thought I was going to be a center fielder. Now I have had 2 shoulder surgeries and I can't walk at 40.
Hey, I've had 2 knee surgeries and I haven't hit 30 yet, so I feel that. It's definitely a situation where we're trying to promote safer baseball, and I say that and with a caveat because everybody can debate what that really means, but you should not have kids trying to max out their throws. They should not be pitching as hard as they possibly can for as many pitches as they possibly can just to light up this radar gun. It is something that is honestly so disgusting to me. It makes me so sad to think about. And I'm actually talking to like a youth organization to see different ways that we can try to get more involved together, because it is in my opinion, the radar gun has become this thing that I actually had posted a Tommy John video while I was talking about this, and I had a mom reach out to me and she's like, what can I do? My son is 10 years old. He really, really wants this, and he wants to just do as much as he possibly can. And what they're saying is like, you just need to throw harder, you need to throw more. And I'm afraid that he's going to need Tommy John, but I'm also afraid to tell him no to his dreams. And to me, that is one of the saddest things to hear, is that that's the reality that parents are facing. And to your point, Jason, about that 11-year-old kid, the reality of some parents being like, no, our dreams for you is more important than your current health. Like that, I have my thoughts about that. But that is something that we're trying to promote. It's this thing, ironic thing that Joel was talking about, how Tommy John and the radar gun, we're seeing more and more pitchers go down every single year with Tommy John, which increases the marketability of the films, but that's not what we want. That's not what we want at all. There's actually more youth and non-professionals that get Tommy John every year than there are professional baseball players. That is so sad to me, because you should not be putting your body in jeopardy for something. Take it from someone that has had 2 knee surgeries. It's not something that, it's not worth it. It's not worth it to put yourself in that position. But the narrative that we're telling kids right now is you have to do this if you want to even be noticed. And that's not where it should be. And honestly, I want to promote people being more strategic about their baseball. It's kind of the same argument that I was using with the umpires, right? Where there's an art to pitching, and it's not just throwing hard. You have the Greg Maddoxes of the world that wasn't necessarily the fastest pitcher, but he is arguably one of the best.
I have a question.
We talked about that a lot.
Yeah. So Brooke,
Jimmy Keys of the world, perfect.
Yeah, Brooke, you look at baseball stats, and you're giving us ways to look at things differently, right? The game's evolved, the stats should evolve to give us a more thorough look at how baseball is currently played. So for pitching, how do you think, rather than the radar gun, do you have any idea of better? You could say no, but do you have any idea of what would be a better way to measure success as a pitcher, and not like success against batters, but just your own prowess of pitching, right? So if you're evaluating somebody, what is the thing?
Yeah, so I think one of the ways that we can really start to measure this, control is the most important thing. It's not necessarily how fast the ball is going. It's not, every pitcher has their different repertoire of pitches that they can do as well. But what I think we should really start to measure is control, along with changing speeds. Pitchers used to throw a fastball at, I don't know, what would we say, low 90s? And nowadays, if you're not in triple digits, it's not anything worth notice.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. But pitchers back then also could pitch 8, 9 innings. There were some pitchers that would just go all 9 innings. Now we're lucky if you even get to 5 innings.
I got a fun stat from our friends on that one on here. I'm going to put up on the screen here while you're continuing to chit chat, but that is insane right there, to your point of nobody even pitching 9 innings. Post Tommy John surgery, 234 innings, only struck out 65. And I love Cullen's last comment here, that he was such a speed demon in the way that one of his grandmothers is is always in the high speed lane, meaning not fast at all.
Something also to add to that point was that Tommy John and the injury itself was a quantity injury for so long. And what I mean by that is Tommy John dealt with the injury. It wasn't some sudden snap of his elbow. It was a pain that he dealt with over 12 to literally his entire career. He was dealing with this pain. He was getting cortisone injections to kind of numb the pain, but this was something that was happening because he was pitching 250, 260 innings. And that's what would lead to the injury back in the 70s, back in the 80s. Now what it is they did some studies on cadavers and how much PCI the elbow can take. And the rupture point for a normal human being is about 92 miles an hour when you throw. So throwing between 90 and 92, that's where the rupture point comes in for just any normal human being. So it takes a freak of nature to consistently throw 95. You are an oddity. You're something that is beyond the norm. So
and even more superhuman to continually throw 100.
Exactly. Yes, you are going so beyond. You're putting an extra. Honestly, I think 200-300 psi on your elbow when you're in the 96
Wow.
to 100 mile an hour range. Beyond
in an
your
area
elbow,
right here.
Exactly. Yeah, right there. So it was a situation where for the majority of baseball, this was an injury that occurred after years and years and years of pitching. But now, because we're so focused on velocity, any singular pitch can equal 13 years of a career. So it's like it took 13 years for your elbow to blow up. But now if you're throwing 102 and you're trying to sink it, or you're throwing a 104 mile an hour splitter, like we're now in a day and age in baseball where the four-seamer used to be the only pitch that hit triple digits. Now we see cutters that are touching triple digits.
Sliders with that Winkowski kid throwing 96.
Yeah,
that's not a slider at that point. That's a cutter.
Louis Varland's throwing changeups at 94. Like, I mean, it's not a changeup. A changeup has a difference in speed. You know, like call it what it is. And you know, I couldn't agree more. Like, I mean, it's we've had Bob File on, we've had Ricky Romero on, we've had a lot of pitchers that have pitched in the majors on, and they all say the same thing. They all say that it's just like it's when they're done, they feel like the weight of the world was on their arm, and you never quite ever feel right, no matter how much working. Even Todd Stottlemyre, same thing. No matter how much proper working out you do and all the rest of it, you do irreparable damage to your arm. It's an interesting thing.
Yeah,
so
and
I want to be able to put a bow on the fun where I'm going to let you talk, Brooke, but I'm just going to put this. That some of our fans are chiming up to this exactly in the comments. Get that movie to the screen. So I agree that it will be a fun one to watch, and I do think that there's a great baseball and a great human story to your point there, because
I haven't seen a lot of pictures.
Attrition getting back that first person back from that surgery to get to where he got to. So
I haven't seen a lot of pictures of Tommy John, but if he's an overweight Canadian in his 50s, I'm not busy. I could play him.
I like the way that this baseball movie and all baseball movies are just dude cry movies. I mean, we all cry, but men feel that like it's okay to cry at a baseball.
We're allowed to cry.
That's a Dennis Leary joke right there, by the way.
I watched
Brooke,
Rudy.
go ahead and put your thought in.
I watched Rudy with my kids the other night. I cry about 17 times in that movie, and I'm not ashamed about it.
It's funny.
It's interesting. I feel like the older I get, the more that I've been crying. Because I used to, like, as a kid, I was always like, yeah, I don't cry. Like, I just like was prideful of the fact that I didn't cry much, and now I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is sad.
Not gonna lie, I could see that you clearly loved Vin Scully when you were talking about him earlier, because I would see you kind of doing like the Mike Myers from Saturday Night Live. I'm a little bit clamped. Here's the topic.
I don't know where it's coming from. I didn't know I have this well inside me, but it's there and it's speaking.
For a love of the game, right there. So this is quite another great baseball.
But actually, Liz, to answer your question a little bit more in depth, I do have a formula called WIP, and it's to basically promote healthier baseball for pitching. It's called WAR times innings, or WAR times innings divided by 162. So it stands for workforce impact pitching, and it's a way to measure not just how good a pitcher is, but also how much they actually pitch and how they help their team over the season. And I think this type of stat will help encourage pitchers to play not just for quality, but quantity as well. The longevity of their career. Surviving 162 games is just as important as winning individual games, and a pitcher who can carry heavy innings week after week keeps the team competitive over the long haul. So this is something that, and I totally understand people say like, okay, well, WAR, they feel like WAR might still be a more effective stat. So essentially what we just do with that is we take their WAR, we add their WIP, and then we divide it by 2. So it takes the average of the 2. And then you can more properly assess how effective a pitcher is. Because I do want to get back to more of that traditional baseball approach where we're seeing pitchers have more longevity in a game, but then also over a season. And it also helps the roster, because if you can keep your pitcher in longer, then that means that you don't have to use as many relief pitchers, and you can save them from for a game that it really matters, or that he really needs their assistance.
The game needs more players like Roy Halladay back. And just like that's the perfect Blue Jays staple for the workhorse definition of pitchers, because I think he still owns the most recent record for, because nobody's pitches shutouts or even complete games anymore. I think he was the last one that even hit double digits in a Major League Baseball season. And I think, and that's saying something, because that was not that long ago. This is recent baseball history.
I think him and James Shields.
Changed. Yeah, James Shields was probably another one too. So it's insane. It's crazy. And then to the point where we're at least finally starting to see a few teams wake up on the getting back to Brooks. One of your recent videos that I loved is I'm like, oh, Jason, Liz, and I talk about this all the time. The Tony Gwynns, the Wade Boggs, the people that actually just hit the damn ball. It doesn't have to always be hard, but it's in play. I miss people like Tony Gwynn. And not to mention, they just had fun while they do it. And the mythos around Wade Boggs is just still one of the funniest things in baseball.
It's so good, man.
It's so much fun. It's just, how many beers did he drink? No.
And there's a rumor that he's dead, but I don't think he's dead, guys. That's no, like, no.
Which is the study in Philadelphia, bit in spades. And then my favorite thing is that he still knows the Chicken Man all these years later, because he used to eat lemon chicken all day, every day before a game. One of my stupid gag gifts that somebody bought my uncle one year, because he was a diehard Red Sox fan, was the cooking book from Wade Boggs, which is just a bunch of ways to make lemon chicken. And so,
hey, Brooke, I was wondering if you've ever seen the story of the Battered Bastards of Baseball, the one with Kurt Russell's dad bought a international league team in Oregon. That'd be a fun one. If you get a chance to watch the documentary, it's right up your alley about like really interesting stuff, using his money from Gunsmoke to field the team, and like pictures of the guys on the team smoking and drinking in the dugout and getting caught and being like, and they're beating like the best teams that played in the 80s. They're stomping them, stealing bases. Like it's an incredible story. If you get a chance to watch it, I think it'd be right up your alley.
It was
say the name for it again. I'm gonna write it down.
It's called the Battered Bastards of Baseball.
Yeah. I think everything that family friendly used to be with the Savannah Bananas is now in regular everyday baseball.
Oh, I gotta say this. So the Bananas were in Seattle for the last 3 days. So if you didn't win lottery tickets or 2 days or whatever it was, and Ichiro came out and played, which is pretty cool, actually.
That's
awesome. But if you didn't win lottery tickets and pay decently normal prices, they wanted almost $400 US to sit in the highest level of seats in Seattle. And I know that's not what this whole thing was started to do. And so, like, I know a couple of people that won the lottery from here and went down and watched, and they said it was incredible. But I mean, to have a baseball stadium where he said there was lots of empty seats, because obviously people on the resale market were not able to sell what they were trying to sell. So I think that's
asking way too much, but it is what it is. So we're near the end of the show. We try to keep this strict for an hour for, the lovely commuters in the Toronto area like Liz here, and keep it going like that. So I want to make sure that we do our little wrap-up game here, and I'm going to forfeit my spot here on the aptly nicknamed Picks to Clicks to talk about who is going to be the top performer in Toronto Blue Jays baseball. But first, we got to decide who was last week's winner and see where we rank. So I'm going to just take the names that were done last week. I'm going to let Joel and Brooke tell me out of these four names who was the best performer in Toronto Blue Jays baseball since our last recording last Wednesday. And the names are Alejandro Kirk, Andres Jimenez, George Springer, and Vlad Guerrero Jr. So I know it's shocking that Vladdy made a list. So, Joel, maybe you want to go first. Who do you think out of those two, those four had the best week in Blue Jays baseball? And yes, I know that's like asking a lot of really loaded questions because we had a pretty rough week last week.
Let's see. I want to go with Kirk, not just because of like last week, but and honestly, this is kind of the mentality of we dealt with a team last year, I think, that underperformed seriously. Like everybody, and it wasn't just like a singular player underperforming. It seemed like it was a bug that everybody caught for 162 games, and all of a sudden their bats were cold for
it's like we put a team together that was excellent, and then they were all cursed because we put them together.
And so, but at the same time, I want to say Kirk, because the automated balls and strikes system is coming into play. So I want to give him props for the amazing catching that he's done all year. And the fact that you can stay on your game as a 5'7", 240 pound, 250 pound catcher who's squatting that much, like he doesn't get nearly the credit.
Mike Wazowski.
There you go.
I still never seen anybody hit a further home run playing in the Appalachian League than I saw Alejandro Kirk hit in West Virginia. So it literally went over the batter's eye and into the wilderness, because that's what that field is like. And it might have hit a Sasquatch. That's about how far deep into it went. So, but is what it is. Brooke, out of yours, who do you vote for in those four players there?
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Vladdy. I know it's like, I feel like that's always the obvious choice, but I just think that his underlying metrics show he's been a little unlucky, but that usually means that a correction is coming. And I suspect some positive regression in his batted ball metrics. And I think he may break out in the final week. So
let's go.
Yeah. So, Liz is all over that one because she just wants to win again. So, I'm going to go to the tiebreaker between the two of you, and I agree with you, Joel, that the defensive metrics are really hard to show with what Kirky does really contribute over it, but he did not have a hit technically last week. So, I feel like I can't give him the exact trophy that I would love to give one of my favorite players in Major League Baseball. So, unfortunately, once again, Liz is still the crown victor.
Just keep picking Vladdy every week,
but
man.
You can't do this week now because you picked him last week and won. So Liz has now won 3 weeks in a row, so we got to do something here. Go ahead, Joel.
I was just going to say, we got to throw out some love to Springer, who has probably comeback player of the year this year.
Sure.
Yes.
And I don't think that we would be where we are without, because last year we were all sitting there looking at that contract going, this is the guy who's bogging this team down. And now
everyone's telling cut him.
Yeah. And now he's fourth or fifth in all of Major League Baseball in slugging. He's batting over 300.
Should get some MVP votes.
Yeah. He has been an absolute catalyst for the success of this team this year, and it's great to see. Exactly, because he's got a big smile on his face and he plays the game the right way, and love to see what he's been doing this year.
Yeah, so that is now since we do this all season long until the Blue Jays until the season is actually over and through the playoffs. But Liz has a demanding lead at 11 wins to Jason's 6.
You picked the best player.
My 4, and the guest spot.
No, she keeps
4,
pitching
so
the same
I'm
two
just
players.
The guest spot.
She picks 2 players and goes back and forth.
Yep.
So
on that note, I'm gonna let Joel take my pick, but we're going to just go here first. We're going to let the guests go first. Brooke, pick for the guest spot and see if you can get them back on the board. Who do you think is going to have the best week in Toronto Blue Jays baseball between today and basically the end of the season?
Thinking.
Or you let Joel take my pick first?
Yeah. Okay. I hope that Kevin Gossman can be solid.
Is he going to get another start before Sunday?
Yeah,
he should be pitching Friday. He should pitch Friday. This might be the weird week where a pitcher is actually not a bad pick.
Yeah.
Because the problem is there's so many games that the offensive players pick. So unless you time it right, like tonight, like if you picked Max Scherzer and he was doing better than giving up 3 earned runs in the first inning, which he has.
Dude, he's doing great right now.
Leveled out. He's doing really good. He's cruising.
Yeah.
But unless you get those 2 start weeks, it's really hard to overcome Vlad going off for a week and just going crazy. So, but this would be a fun one to see having a pitcher win for a change because we don't see it very often.
Yeah, I mean, he used to be like the number 1 pitcher that he's getting paid to become in October. So that's what I'm hoping for.
That's going to lock it, Gossman?
Yeah, I'm going to lock it.
There you go.
We got to get a pitcher.
All right. There you go, Joel. So you got the next pick.
I want to go Bo, but he's probably not playing until October, right? So I can't go with Bo. But I'll go with, you know what? I'll go with Varsho because the power has been amazing to see this year. It's all or nothing with him at the plate, but there's been a lot more.
It's been pretty nothing lately.
Yeah,
so
there's been a lot,
right?
but the defense is something that never gets cold. And his defense in center field is as glorious as you'll ever see. So hopefully he can find his way against righties, especially. And then something that I really want to see from Varsho, especially come playoff time, is the guy is an absolute wizard when it comes to the bunts.
That's so good. He runs.
So if he can drop a couple down, a couple nice bunts, I think he had some season in like 3 years ago where he was like 15 for 16 on bunt base hits. He was batting like 920 or something. It was just
metrics that nobody pulls anymore.
Yeah. So
there you go.
Yeah, that'll be my pick.
All right, Liz, who you got?
Okay, well, I can't pick Bo because he's out. Vladdy I picked last week.
Can't pick Vladdy technically.
Well, you know what?
Last week with him.
Yeah, well, I have a feeling. Man, I hope I win. I hope I would have won this week with him. For he has not been hitting the best. I'm going to pick Springer because he's probably the best right now, and I will probably win.
There you go. And Jason, wrap it up.
I am going back to the well with my friend Ernesto Clemento.
Ernie. I love Ernie. So, and he's been playing well. I'm glad to see him playing every day. He's been playing a great
the only hit today.
Yeah, they're not buying hits today, man. It's wild.
That's been the last week. So on this show, we obviously have the shameless self-promoting bit. So I want to give you a chance to make sure you tell everybody where to find you, what you're working on. The mic is yours. We'll go first with Brooke. What's going on in your life, and what do you want to share with the group?
Yeah. So we know about Tommy John, and that's just, the more that everyone can talk about it, that's something that Joel and I are very passionate about. But if you like hearing number-driven forecasting, human stories behind everything in baseball, then please find me on TikTok and Instagram at Brooke Knows Ball. Brooke with an E at the end. Nose, not like the one on your face, but KNOWS and ball. So I post narrative breakdowns and even mini video explainers for some of those fun little steps that I do on my spare time. So if anyone wants to send me questions or anything like that, at the end of the day, I just enjoy talking baseball. So find me out there.
Yep. And we still got 300 people listening in and having a good time with us here to the last minutes of the podcast. So loving all of you out there. So Joel, microphone's yours. Rock it up.
You can find me on TikTok and Instagram at hey_commie. I haven't been making as much content as usual on my page. I've been trying to help Brooke out as much as possible to, and that page has just exploded in an absolutely beautiful way. So honestly, I'll just take and double up on everything that Brooke said. Go check out her page. It's amazing content. And I love being a part of it. And I think we're doing something really special that baseball needs. And the comments and the reactions to it have been overwhelming. And I love every day that we sit together and come up with fun content. So, yeah.
Hey, guys, isn't it super cool to know two super rad women that are super popular and super cool in baseball? We got two of them right
riding
here.
their coattails. That's good.
Just riding their coattails.
What's that in the wrong shape?
Coattails. Love coattails.
I just love that I get to go have a beer with her on Friday for the first time in way too damn
have one
long.
for me.
We get to hang out. So it's good time.
I'll be in Whitehorse.
There you go. So Brooke, Joel, cannot say enough good things about having you on the show tonight. Thank you very, very much. This was a pleasure. It was fun. It was crazy, just like usual, because that is the wonderful content, the wonderful environment we create here for the hour that we are on every week. It is greatly appreciated. You will always be welcome to come back and chit chat anytime you would like.
Thank you so much for having me on. You guys are so fun to talk to. I always get nervous whenever I do stuff like this, and having great hosts like the three of you makes a huge difference.
Was I right? I said you're going to come on. You're going to have fun. It's going to be loose. It's going to be shenanigans where it'll be had. So,
absolutely great
on that
time.
note, appreciate it. So, on that note, thank you very much for the almost 300 of you that are still hanging on to, like I said, the last minutes. Make sure you tune in next week, and we are going to have Shane Told of Silverstein repping his new album, oddly enough, but he's going to talk and get a little retcon in here for the fact that he was on the show last time when we were bottom basement dwellers and couldn't figure out how to do anything right on a baseball field. You got to give them a chance to talk Blue Jays playoffs and go from there. But make sure you listen to all the wonderful content that Brooke and Joel have been chit-chatting on. We will have this show right up live here in the very near future again, and we'll talk to you Blue Jays playoff baseball next week. It's going to be a wonderful time, and thank you very much for listening. As usual, Go Blue Jays. Cheers.
Thank you for listening to the Jay Bird Watching Podcast. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch at BirdwatchingGC, and our YouTube channel. If you want to support the show and get extra content, please consider donating to our Patreon at patreon.com/birdwatchinggc. Go Jays, go.